Can you say hard hats, folks? Hard hats, lunch pails, steel toe boots.
Anything short of a championship this year is a failure.
Look at this boomer right here.
You've just got so much talent here.
Somebody said we need to apologize for Jalen.
Can I close it, John? What are we apologizing for? What did we say? What did we do?
Wow.
Here we go.
3-0. Hard hats, lunch pails, steel toe boots. Let's go, boys. How we feeling?
We're still
What a game.
We're still exhaling after that.
I got a lot of.
That being said, I still wasn't, believe it or not, wasn't worried. Fully annoyed.
Three-point
yes,
game.
it was something.
I gotta say, I wasn't the calmest individual.
Yeah.
But the Celtics held it out. Wow. Exhale. Everybody inhale.
That's it.
Hold it.
One win away.
Inhale,
Lots
hold it,
to
exhale.
like. Bobby Manning's going to have to go report in a little bit, so we'll get Bobby's take to start.
Yeah, this is their vintage championship win. They took punch after punch after punch from the Mavs in this one. Dallas played pretty well across the board here. Got some role player contributions. Washington woke up a little bit. You had that hot start, 25-12 for Dallas. And this place was bonkers. I mean, what a crowd. What an atmosphere for this game. This was the best crowd I've heard all year. I mean, this place was rocking. I don't know if it was the building or what.
Talk about the Celtics.
Stop. Enough with the crowd. The crowd was fine. Yeah. And then they took him out of it.
Yeah, they took him out of it. You got bench contributions. Tatum and Brown working off each other in the third quarter. Incredible. I mean, that's the most I've seen them passing to each other, playing off each other ever. And that stood out to me. And then, of course, you have the all-out collapse in the fourth quarter. But pretty methodical stuff to get Doncic out of the game. And up 3 with 5:25 to go to hold on is pretty impressive because that could have gone the other way. That could have piled on to a big Celtics deficit in the other direction. We've seen playoff games like that from them in the past. Game 7 against Cleveland in 18 certainly went that way after a pretty big collapse there. So this did it. This did it. I didn't like how the game started at all. You definitely thought they were going to feel that Porzingis loss more based on how this game started. But Tillman did his job. Horford piled up stop after stop. Just continues to be one of the best defensive centers in the league at 38. It's unreal. And they made Doncic work. They tired him out. They foul him out. And Dallas is done. The Celtics are going to win the championship.
Whoa. Okay. I mean, they're sitting pretty. They're sitting pretty, Bobby. I would think we would all agree. 3-0 lead, looking good going into Game 4 Friday night. Everything's going the Celtics' way. The thing that stood out to me tonight was the contributions from all over this roster at certain points, whenever you needed it. I mean, who had Tillman 3-pointer on their bingo card tonight? Did anybody? I mean, did anyone have that? Like, let's be real. You had the Hauser threes. You had Tillman chipping in. You had Jaylen Brown, unbelievable second half, and you got to give Tatum his flowers for the first half and the way he started this game and being aggressive early on. Everybody made a point and again, Derek White in the second half. So 2 guys in the first half that no-showed, Brown and White, come up huge for you in the second half. Tillman putting on a freaking manly performance tonight, just coming up. And you can see the guys, how much they were loving Tillman's contributions tonight, that 3. And just the defense. I mean, the defense on Luka even. I mean, this guy was it was like he didn't skip a beat out there. As bad as he's looked at points leading up to tonight, got to give him all the credit in the world for just being ready to go. Obviously, the news that Porzingis didn't play, wasn't going to go tonight was a tough one for everybody to hear. I think some of us had feared the worst, but there was still a small percentage of us that thought maybe who knows?
Let's get into the good stuff though.
Yeah, exactly. So, but point being, John, is that guys stepped up in his absence, and like Tillman and Hauser are prime examples of guys who just got those were the minutes right there.
Again, you're 100% right. Tillman, that first little stint, because he came in about at the Porzingis stretch there, and it was at about the 6-minute mark. quick shift in and out in 3 minutes. Didn't look great there. And then his second stint, he stopped Luka on one drive, got a piece of it, stopped Kyrie on another drive, and he looked a lot more comfortable. And he gave you exactly what you wanted there in terms of his switchability on defense. It's what you wanted. Hauser was a rock on defense. They tried to get switches onto him.
No one's ever said that.
He stayed in front of his guy all the time. He contested, he challenged, and then he knocked down his threes, and that changes everything
Chased
in
after
terms of
the
that
ball,
dynamic. And that's really what happened in the third. Is the threes started the drive. You just keep doing what you're doing. I thought the poise, they came out like such grown-ups in the third quarter there. The poise and just sticking to the plan and the process. And again, Bobby, I almost wish you didn't have that fourth quarter because we could just be gushing about how different it is and how different they are from teams.
Well, the difference this year is that you have the defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have the defense to sustain those offensive lapses. 20-20 in the second, right?
Yeah.
Fourth quarter, your offense falls apart. But you have just enough stops to grind this one out. Again, I didn't foresee 3-point lead being enough with 5 minutes left, but it was.
But as Louise puts it here, the trust issues are gone. And that's why, like, even when they were cutting it, I was getting annoyed because the one thing they can't get out of their way with is that stagnation prevent offense, which, again, is frustrating because it's not the thing I want to talk about tonight because it doesn't really matter. I thought they came out, as I said, they came out in that third so just stuck on their plan. They didn't waver. What they haven't done all series is at any time that anything Dallas has done that's working for them, they don't change their plan and be like, okay, well, we got to overreact and now change everything that we do to stop this or to combat this. The threes weren't falling. They were only shooting at about a 33% clip. I think it was 9 of 27 in the second half. But the 3-point math is what was keeping them in the game at that point, even though they weren't hitting them. And they just stuck with the drive and kick game and the drive and kick game. And that was that. Jackson Sherrod's looking for a link. Can you send it out for him? He's trying to set up and join us. Sherrod is also here in Dallas. Bobby's in Dallas. Josue's in Dallas.
Everybody's in Dallas except one guy. Everybody's in Dallas.
But you know what? You know what's in Boston? Jimmy, his hard hats made it into TD Garden
How
tonight.
about that? Unbelievable.
Was that on the Celtics Instagram account?
So they shared the Instagram account with one of their affiliate IGs, I think Celtics Community. So they were doing a collaborative Instagram post where they sent a bunch of pictures around from their account. So if you're on the Celtics Instagram or you follow them, one of the slides, go a few in, you'll see a couple people sitting in like the front row of the Celtics watch party tonight already rocking the hard hats. I'm actually going to tweet the picture out on the CLNS Celtics account. But unbelievable. I mean, we've been shipping these things out all week. They are for sale right now in the merch store along with a bunch of other good stuff. So check that out, definitely. Code one more, 20% off, one more. Hopefully that code is live because it should be.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you for those guys in the chat feeling generous right now. I don't know what these are, but I'm happy to have them. And yeah, we thank all of you guys. Again, a couple good things. It'd be a shame to not give Tatum his flowers because he remembered how to score in the first half when they needed it, when everybody else was ice cold and the threes weren't falling, which was good and it was needed. Second half, we're not going to talk about it as much. But Jaylen Brown
61 for those two combined on good efficiency.
That's what you needed. But, Tatum, they got a little turnover-y late. Don't love it. But, again, other than that little spurt there, I mean, Bobby, what was the building like when, first of all, the two moments that I think, need to be discussed above all else is the Jaylen Brown, no joke, dunk that put them up 15, legit.
That was
took the soul of everyone in this building with it. You could hear like a whoosh, like a vacuum sound.
A good 2-for-1 too. Yeah.
And
they lined it up perfectly.
Which you don't get often. And then they come out of that fourth and those two back-to-back threes. Unreal. Putting them up 21, and they needed it. They needed every bit of it. Hey, we love you too. I dream of sounds.
We love right now.
Yeah, we love all of you guys. And we love being one win away at this point. And again, I know, Bobby, you're going to jump into the locker room in a little bit and get some reaction. And there's going to be a lot of stay ready crew locker room guys worth talking to tonight. As we said, Tillman, Hauser with a terrific effort. Absolutely.
To me, that's the story of this series. We thought they were going to have to go to so many looks defensively to slow this team. They've just had one. Switch everything, stop the corner three, stay in front of your guy, and sustain some of the runs that Kyrie and Luka go on. And there haven't been many. Luka's just been horrendous in this series. Like 6 fouls.
Fouled
One-on-one,
out.
he
That was
can't.
embarrassing.
I mean, on that 20-6 run that got the Celtics back in it, he had Pritchard point blank at the post twice and just couldn't score. And at that point, he was 1 for 6 against Pritchard in the series. If he's not going to be able to beat Pritchard one-on-one, you're looking at a sweep here. And the defense just continues to speak for itself there. I don't know how you can have him over Tatum after this series. Like I said last game, it's just not comparable. Tatum just does too many things. And obviously he's got Brown as a running mate. Kyrie in this one, pretty good. But, man, he missed some big ones. That step back on Horford that I think would have cut it to 1 after the Celtics got that Tatum dunk, I think it was, that got it back to 4. So this was a tough one across the board for those two. You can't really say anything about Luka fouling out there. Brown just got him in transition. Good pace from Boston throughout this one. Especially at the end of the first there, to really get back into the game in a hurry. And then it's kind of tit for tat the rest of the way. And you get the 2 big runs, Boston going up 21, Dallas getting the back within 1. But some good offensive execution from Boston in the third. And the defense has just been there the whole series. And like you said, it's everybody. Hauser surviving throughout this series. We didn't even know if he was going to play in this series. Tillman coming in after not playing for so long. And Pritchard still doing his thing. Yeah, so unlikely contributors on the defensive end doing a ton.
Yeah.
Such a team effort. Again, just a gritty win. And the way this game started, you knew Dallas was going to come out with some sort of jolt, right? I mean, playing in front of the home crowd, they got the best start they possibly could. And to only be up 1 point by the end of that first quarter, I think, John, you must have somebody texted to me.
Yeah.
It was just like, that's unsustainable. You know, you got that.
It was also the 37 points from you got the big games from your stars. Like everyone was like, if Kyrie wakes up, and he did. He scored 35 points, and obviously, I guess someone said it earlier. You're right, Jimmy. But yeah, it was unsustainable. Like you're not getting it from other people. Actually, in that run, the reason they made that run is other people started, and Dallas started realizing that I've got to take and make some threes, and they did, and that helped get them back into it during that 20-2 run there. But you're right, Jimmy. That was not sustainable, and you had to feel.
Oh, you were right. You told me that, but I know.
But you're saying it here.
You're right. No,
you're saying it here.
I don't think. Yeah. I don't think we've said it either. But this team's on a 10-game win streak in the playoffs. I mean, it's just all-time stuff from this group. We really are watching one of the greatest teams ever do their thing now and hit their stride. And a lot of it, we mentioned the 2-for-1. We mentioned the math game Mazzulla's playing in many ways here. I mean, his fingerprints are all over it, too. So he deserves a ton of credit as well for a variety of things. Obviously, the way Tatum and Brown are playing, the roles White and Holiday have developed within the offense, too. And then you look at the bench, the way they've utilized them here. That's what continues to surprise me, is that group has just persisted so well into the playoffs now. We got Tatum walking off the floor.
With a lot of Celtics fans, a smatter, I won't say a lot, but enough Celtics fans to be making some noise here.
That's great. Yeah. I mean, great. It's a great night to be a Celtics fan in Dallas. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
You're not going to work tomorrow, hopefully on Friday. You're not showing up tomorrow, Thursday on work.
This team could do it here on Friday.
They could. You know what? I mean, as
we could, because I want the weekend off.
It would be great for them
Father's
to win
Day,
in
right?
Boston. At the same time, sweep these bums, prove everybody wrong that's been shitting all over this team for the last couple months. Make them look.
How many
like
people picked the Mavs?
So many people who get basketball. They get ball, Bobby. They saw the game differently. They saw something that the Mavs did well that the Celtics didn't do well. That they had Mavs in 6. But put it this way.
There's a good "Let's Go Celtics" chant going on. Can you guys pick it up?
It's not going to be Mavs in 6, no matter what. And I'd be surprised if it was anything close to Mavs in anything. So, again, you don't want to count your chickens before they hatch. But so far in the series, it's been all Celtics.
Xavier Tillman is going to the podium tonight.
As he damn well should. You know what? When Tillman's ready, one of these is ready, waiting for him. One of these is waiting for Tillman tonight, because that was a hard-hat game by him. Talk about being ready to go to work.
That's stay ready.
That's the stay ready. That's the hard hat win. Him and Hauser get the hard hats tonight. Unbelievable bench performance from, and that's what you need. We had one of the questions that we've had all season along with this team is, are they deep enough after 6? They're 6 deep. If one guy goes down, what's going to happen, Bobby? And
I was worried.
The last 30 games of the regular season, we said, you got to get these guys more playing time. What if the situation arises where you're going to need to go to one of them? And sure enough, unfortunately, that's happened with Porzingis. So Hauser steps up in a mostly forgettable playoff run for Hauser. I think he's maybe had one or two games that he's really contributed. Tonight, he really, really, really answered the bell. Those three pointers in a row that he hit. Just a quick release, never a doubt that it was going down all net. And then for Tillman to go in, not just the three-pointer that we're obviously all going to remember, but the way he played defense, John, I think you mentioned it. His ability to guard Luka, Hauser's ability to get in front, stay in front of his guys. These guys won the game because of their defense. And yeah, Kyrie got his, and Luka was, doing some Luka things. But overall, they locked down when they absolutely needed to. I know that fourth quarter had more to do with their offense completely going stagnant and forcing shots and just ugly. That was like the worst version of Boston for a good 10 minutes there.
Right after the best version of them. And
right. I know. And
they
again,
can sustain it now, which is good. They're mentally strong enough to not just crumble in that spot.
Right. I mean, they came to the brink of it, but the difference this year is those last 3 points, right? The difference this year is not letting it get to that point, where in previous seasons it would get to that point, it would go past that point, and they would lose the game, right? So
big shots by Derek White too.
Big shot! Oh my God, the biggest shot. Him and Brown.
I think White leads the league in bailout threes when the possession went to shit and he's just at the top of the key. The one that he kind of banked in from the top of the key on a possession that had completely gone to hell was a huge shot at the time for them because things were they were trying to.
Who got the offensive rebound there too after Tatum's miss? Was that Brown?
Maybe
a couple plays before that.
Maybe.
So big plays there, like Jimmy said. It was Brown. So he gets the putback. White gets the three. Tatum gets that dunk on the drop off from White, and there were two moments. Obviously, you mentioned the Brown one, John, where he just dunks and silences the place, and he showed into the rim mic, which you could probably hear on the TV. And then Tatum did the same thing with 2 minutes left to put them up 6 there, just shouting into the rim mic, which was pretty cool. They go up 6 at that point, and then Brown hits that icer from the free throw line. It's pretty fitting Tatum and Brown both go for 30 in this one because this is probably the best I've ever seen them play together. Especially in that third, there were just so many passes between them. They were looking for each other. They were both getting theirs back and forth offensively and both playing in a good pace, good rhythm. The offensive execution, again, until the fourth was really good in this one for them. And that's why a guy like Luka ends up falling out of this one. They just had him in actions from like the end of the first, start of the second on. They never gave him a break in this one. And that was, I like the defense.
That's the key. Because what happens, he shuts down.
Defenders off the hook this year. Yeah.
And he shuts down offensively as a result.
Frustrated, complaining to the refs.
Yeah. How many came up? How many shots came up short for him in the second half? Quite a few off the front rim. He starts to get and then he starts to take plays off defensively on the Jaylen Brown dunk. I mean, this was a high pick and roll with a switch where Luka just had to step in front of him and he just olayed it. He didn't at any point in time pretend that he was going to.
By the way, Tatum's at the podium now, so I'm going to get going to these interviews.
Okay, go do your interviews. We'll get Sherrod on in a little bit. Oh, Sherrod's going to replace you right now. Bobby, we'll see you in a little bit. We're going to bring Sherrod Blakely on as soon as I get the thumbs up from him. Bobby, how can I miss you if you won't leave, buddy? There he is. There he is.
Let's get a Sherrod on here.
What's up, fellas?
There's the professor.
What's going on?
You tell me.
Wow.
Take a deep breath.
This was an amazing game. This was one of certainly lots of drama, lots of intrigue.
Had it all.
And this was, again, the Celtics, they gutted this thing out. I mean, there's so many little plays, and they almost gave it away. I mean, it's like Dallas took the game, gave it back to Boston. Boston went up by 21, and then the Celtics almost pissed it away at the end. Just a real serious gut check here. Obviously, people are going to talk a lot about Luka falling out with 4:12 to play.
Sucks to suck.
It does, but again, the Celtics did what they needed to do to get the win. I mean, it's that simple. You came down here wanting to put this series away. I thought that they withstood that first really hard punch that Dallas threw with Kyrie and Luka were just making everything. I think they made the first 4 or 5 shots, found themselves down 22-9, and then they slowly chipped away. And Jason Tatum, and I tweeted about this before the game. Game 3 is the best game that Tatum has been played in every single series. He came into this game in the previous 3 game threes, averaging better than 30 points, 11 boards, and like 7 assists. So him showing out in game 3, not a shocker. Good win, man. Good. And now it's like you see the finish line if you're the Boston Celtics. You just got to finish the race. You just got to finish the race. You're not looking around a corner thinking we're almost there. No, you see it. It's there. You're literally 48 minutes away from Banner 18.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, honestly, it's always tough. The closeout game is always the hardest game, right? Especially you're up 3-0, you're feeling good. You take your foot off the gas there. There's a chance that Dallas could end up with a gentleman sweep situation, of course, But that being said, it's got to be pretty clear to everybody who's watched this series that the Celtics are just the more dominant team. They're the number 1 overall seed for a reason. Dallas, give them credit for getting to this point. I think they overachieved a bit to get here. They, talk about lack of depth. Clearly, they have a lack of depth because they got their points tonight from Kyrie. Kyrie showed up tonight. Tip your hat to him. It's very clear, very, very clear that the Boston Celtics crowd is in Kyrie Irving's head because he's a completely different player in Dallas as he is in Boston. So he should stop egging on the fans and acting like they don't have anything on him, because guess what? They do. You can see a clear difference in his play in front of the home crowd that, has nothing but, kind things to say, as opposed to going on the road and dealing with a little bit of that vitriol, if you will. So
I think that's the demoralizing thing about this game, Jimmy, the fact that they got the Kyrie game. They got a pretty decent Luka game, and they still
and no Porzingis.
And no Porzingis, and a bad first half Jaylen Brown, and a non-factor Derek White first half. I mean, there were so many things that were working in their favor for the better part of this game. And at the end, when it came time to get it done, they couldn't, and the Celtics did.
Yeah, you got to feel pretty dejected right now if you're a Dallas Mavericks player, certainly.
Oh, it was great. I love that. One of my favorite things about watching games on the road is that.
Yeah.
Is sad girls, the sad fans.
Well, you know what though?
They were feeling really good in that first quarter.
It gets me every time, right? Because you've been in a visiting arena, Jimmy, and I know we're professionals, but like you feel it. Really. And I remember one that killed me was that Colts comeback in the 2006 AFC Championship game with the fake noise pumping in, and I'm in there, and I could feel my blood boiling as that goes on. So yeah, it gets you into it more when you're, because then you're like like right back at you.
Great teams know how to win on the road too, right?
And when you do that, it is you're snatching souls, and it really is a tough, a tough thing to. I mean, look at the Celtics. What happened with them with Golden State. Coming back here, and that just
we're never the same after that.
That just hurt.
Your Posey performance tonight. Great comment.
Yeah. So you got that. We've got Jason Tatum at the podium. We're going to put him up in just a second so we can hear about it. We'll also say for those of you, Jason Tatum doesn't do that often. He's got he might have something going on tonight. That's okay. Yeah. Anyway, what we do want to tell you about real quick is Game 4, and I put this out as a tweet from our Celtics account in Dallas. Prices are coming down. You might be able to get into this game, and you might be able to catch this. This is where Boston, this is where you step up. This is where you swoop in, and everyone's trying to sell their tickets because they know it's a lost cause, and you come in here and you say, yep. And here's where you can show up big in green here and potentially see the Celtics take home banner 18. Don't say it, Jimmy. Don't say a thing. Don't say a word until I'm done with this. Nothing.
But let me say something after.
Nothing, not a thing. Okay. So Game Time makes getting NBA final tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app go down, and I watched them go down today. You were able to get in for less than $400 right before tip-off, and that is not bad for an NBA Finals game. I'll tell you that. And we'll make it even easier for you. Just hang on. Well, you can see it on the screen, the discount code. But those killer last-minute deals, and as you said, or as I said, prices go down as you get closer to tip-off, and they did tonight. A bunch of great features as well with panoramic views from your seat. You don't know where you are here. You've never been to American Airlines Center before. God, is this place annoying. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. Lowest price guarantee, ticket coverage. You've got all of that stuff. So again, all you have to do is download that app, create an account, use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Every little bit helps. So go ahead and do that. Create that account, use code CLNS, $20 off your first purchase. Our guy Near, he's here today. He did exactly that. He used Game Time. Guy came because we got some business in Dallas as well. He's hanging with
Guy
Nick.
came too. Okay.
Guy's out.
Cool. Guy came. Sales guy came. That's okay.
Damn it, John.
Yeah.
Use the code CLNS, $20 off your first deposit. Terms to apply. Again, create an account. Use that code CLNS for $20 off your first deposit. Go ahead. Say your Game Time thing, Jimmy.
So what I was
Please
thinking
make it fast because I got another read.
Yeah. No, I bet you it's cheaper, and I don't know this for a fact, but if I'm a Celtics fan and I want to watch this team clinch, it might be cheaper to buy a flight to Dallas and then go on Game Time and buy a Game 4 ticket than it would be to buy a Game 5 ticket in Boston.
There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
Something to think about,
it's
guys.
Something to think about. That's a really, really, really good point. So think about it. You can stay with Ahmed and Bobby. They're basically accepting all stragglers at their hotel, so it's totally fine. Let us know if you're coming too. If you do come out here and you're a Garden Report viewer and you use the Game Time app, or even if you don't, one, come out with a hard hat. Number two, find us. We will find you, and we will we'll make you a part of the Garden Report if we can. We also want to tell you real quick about Prize Picks. Again, the NBA. We're running out of time here with the NBA, but there's a ton of stuff to get into after. It's America's #1 fantasy sports app. More than 5 million members. Most fun and exciting way to get on the action. Watch your favorite sports and players. Turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game. Watching your favorite sports this summer. When the NBA is done, pop on over to the WNBA, which is popping right now. Watch young stars like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and all of the OGs battle it out with the WNBA now. That's getting a lot of eyeballs going its way, and the ratings are up and the interest is up, and you can get in on the action here with Prize Picks there. Injury insurance, your lineup stay even if one of your players gets hurt in the season, and sign up today. As we said, download that code CLNS first deposit match up to 100. Once again, sign up today, use the code CLNS first deposit match up to 100. Let's get
real
into
quick, John, just to get it
nothing
over
is
with.
quick. It's not
get it over with. The CLNS merch page is also bumping right now. Items are flying
Save it for later.
I'm doing it right
We
after your
can't
ad
do
read.
this many reads in a row.
All right, well, there
People
it is.
get disinterested.
One more for 20% off. There's the URL. Don't forget to use the code one more.
Okay.
John can do all his reads. I can't do a 2-minute read on our own merch. We'll sell everybody else's merch but our own.
Here's Jason.
Just, showing the emotions of the game. Two guys that was excited, tired that, after the game. We're not necessarily saying like one more or anything like that. We're just saying however long it takes. Nobody's relaxed. Nobody is satisfied. But, just at that moment, just told him I was proud of him, and he said the same thing, and that we got to keep fighting. We can't relax. And that was basically the conversation.
All right.
I love when Tatum's jacked up like that.
It doesn't matter.
Didn't it feel like he was really trying to keep himself composed?
I love when he brings that kind of energy.
I can't wait for. Okay, I don't want to jinx anything, but let's just say the Celtics do pull this off. I need a side-by-side celebration of KG after they won with the anything is possible, and then I need Tatum's reaction, which is happy to get this W. And
I like this. This is nice.
We got 3,000 plus in here right now. Watching the Garden Report. We're going to hang on here for at least another hour while we wait for these other guys to jump in here. So again, tell your friends, join the stream. We are just getting started here. on the Garden Report. And yeah, Jason Tatum, let's talk about his game because he needed something like this. And again, let's throw out yes, I wish I could take the whole 20-2 run and throw the whole thing out because talking about it or spending a ton of time on it when they ended up winning doesn't really matter. That's where Tatum was at his worst during that prevent portion of it. Let's talk about the rest of the game and not that portion because look, that would be the entire story if they ended up blowing this game and we would spend the entire show on it and talk about nothing else that happened. But since they won, we have the benefit of focusing only on the good things that Jason Tatum did, and there were many.
I agree. I mean, remember, Dallas came out just swinging and being very impactful early on, put him in that 22-9 hole. And Jason was the only one that was really keeping the Celtics, able to withstand that Mavericks barrage of buckets early on. So he I thought, again, had a really solid game minus that stretch in the fourth where no one could make shots or frankly impact the game positively. But Tatum, he did what he needed to do. I mean, this is what your best players do. When you're not having a great game, you need to find a way to have a good enough one to help your team win. And I thought he did that at both ends of the floor. This is what your best player is supposed to do. When he's not having the greatest of games, do other things. And I thought he did a lot of little things tonight that really, really, really helped this team win.
Yeah, I don't want to dump on anybody's parade here. I mean, Tatum, there were some instances where you were watching Tatum and you just wanted the shot to fall so badly, and on some cases it did, but there were a few where it was just like go down, and then so like I give Tatum a lot of credit for the way he was aggressive tonight to start the game, and he did make it a point to take shots, and to his credit, he hit a good amount of them, but there was that next level. I think of anyone watching the game was hoping that he would get to. But to your point, Sherrod, and to his credit, what he's been doing all series and really all playoffs is finding other ways to affect the game in a positive way. And you can't really argue that against that. I mean, all the stats will back that up. And whether it's potential assists or the rebounds or, if you just watch the game, I guess you'll be able to see how defensively, him being able to basically take on any assignment. They were commenting on the broadcast at points tonight too. The inbounds there that Tatum was able to defend when I think they tried to get, I forget who it was, but right off an inbounds, maybe like a play at the rim, and Tatum was able to kind of stop that one. So, unlike a lot of NBA players who, when they go cold or when they're not effective just scoring the ball, they kind of just aren't really a part of the game, and typically you lose that game. Tatum has found ways to contribute in a number of ways that allows him to, be still arguably the most important player on the court at all times, regardless of what he's doing, and like scoring wise. You still want him to drop 50 on somebody's head. Let's not get it twisted. You still want to see that because then there's no arguing.
It's frustrating. You wish you'd see it, right, Jimmy? Like
you want to see it.
When you say you wish those shots would go down, you wish those shots would go down because that's going to be like reminiscent of like, as Sherrod to call the top 5 Tatum, where it's like, okay, he's in assassin mode and everything's going to fall. Mm-hmm. And like, we haven't seen that. It does still feel like he's working for it. And he's working really hard for it. And you know what? He has to, because they're still keying on him. And they're still, there's guys waiting to close off every lane. He gets past the first guy. There's a guy waiting to come, and there's help underneath. And so they're really, really, really trying to close it off for him and to try to keep him away from the basket and to force him to take long contested twos. And sometimes he takes the bait, but also sometimes that's in his bag. And during the regular season, he hit those at a better clip than he's hitting them at the playoffs. So you're kind of waiting for the regression to the mean on that, where one of these days they're going to dare him to, take those, or he's just going to go into, ISO Tatum step back mode, and they're going to drop. And some of them dropped earlier. And that was kind of key to what the Celtics were doing, because everybody else started cold. Al, Drew, and White really didn't do much in that first half there. And so you really needed Tatum to remember how to score, and thank goodness he did. While we're saying all of that, it's impossible to not once again mention, and it isn't an either or, but
Jalen
was better.
Jalen
Brown was everything.
Second half Jalen tonight was a problem.
He was Jalen. He was he's had better statistical games, but this was special.
He
And
locked
this
up
was-
the MVP tonight.
Holiday without the stats tonight too, honestly. And I know I'm trying to be nice about the Tatum stuff because he had a better game, and he.
There will
and
be
I
a
know
time
all the other things that he did, but this was another. Brown's passing tonight was unbelievable when he wasn't
Had
scoring.
5 assists in the first half. I mean,
And then he made some really tough shots there in the third, those just soul snatching, like contested twos over the top of everybody that you're convinced like that's the shot you want him to take. And then he hits it anyway. And you're like, ugh. And like, he was just great. His passing was outstanding all game, and his defense never let up all game long. This was an incredible Jaylen Brown game.
it feels like it's going to be a photo finish for
He's
NBA
the
Finals
MVP.
MVP between him and Drew. Because, I mean, right now, Drew, I thought
think
was a little
Jalen
bit
got-
ahead of him coming in here, but Jalen, I think, has moved to the front of that pack. But in Game 4, if Drew goes out and has like a game like he had in Game 2, he could easily be – it could be a recency bias type of thing where because of who plays better in Game 4 for the Celtics if they win,
Yeah,
that's
it's
probably the guy that's going to get the MVP.
JB's
should
going to have
be.
JB's got the stats.
He's got the stats. He's got the name.
He's a
you know,
runaway. He's a runaway favorite at this point, I think.
Yeah, and I don't want to. Yeah, I would agree, and it's well deserved. And you know what? He brought it in the Eastern Conference Finals. He's been bringing it all playoffs. He's had a little chip on his shoulder, which is great. Works out for the Celtics. Works out for him. He's always been a guy that's been able to use like slights against him as motivation. And to his credit, good for him because he's the highest paid player in the NBA, and he's still finding ways to feel like he's not respected. And
Right.
good. If that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. And next year it'll be something else that'll keep him going, right? So you got to just tip your cap to this guy. He's shown up when it matters most. Again, when you looked at that, when the first half ended, obviously you watched the game and you saw it, but when you looked at the box score, you go, damn, Jaylen Brown really was a no-show in that first half. Derek White, 1 for 7, I think it was, but Brown specifically stood up because there wasn't really much that you could remember him doing in that first half. And something had to change in that second half. You needed two things to happen. You needed Kyrie and Luka to slow down just a bit. And you needed somebody else on the Celtics to step up. And Brown was obviously the most likely player because of, a typical Brown performance does not look like how it looked in the first half. So it made sense that something would change in the second half. And White was the other guy. Those two guys needed to turn things around in the second half, and they did. And obviously Brown with the emphatic dunk, which it seems like we see now once every couple of games, he catches somebody, or people have, I think, starting to learn now to, let the man do his thing. When he gets a little space down the lane around the free throw line, just let him go ahead and get those 2 points. It's not worth trying to get in the way of that.
But you know what, Jimmy? Maybe the most important thing Jaylen did all game long was drawing that 6 foul on Luka. When you look at the way that this game was playing out, that it was going to be like a one possession, one shot could potentially win the game type of situation. That is in Luka's wheelhouse.
Do you think that Missoula timeout was all to tell them to go get that 6th foul?
I don't know. I mean, genius on his part if he did that. But to me, the way that they attacked on that inbounds, I mean, like they got the ball up to Jaylen really, really quick on that possession. And Jaylen, with no hesitation, went right at Luka.
They called it right after the 5th foul, and then they called the switch, and they went right at him there.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was pretty clear that that was what they were gunning for. They were trying to get him, and Luka, and they know this. I mean, it's no secret. Luka is not exactly, Mr. Defense. He's not great at moving his feet, particularly in transition. And they caught him. They caught him out of position and made him pay. So, heck of a play for Jaylen just to recognize that moment, attack, get that 6th foul, and help this team secure this victory.
Yeah. Jimmy, you want to do it now? I'm going to give it to you.
Why, are you leaving or something?
No, I'm going to let you do your thing.
Oh, wow. What a guy. Cool.
Jimmy wants to tell you guys something.
Oh, am I going to put this up?
Yeah. No, put up your banner first.
Yeah, I got my banner right here.
Okay. Now, you know what's selling at this merch store, right, guys? Okay, first off, use the code one more for 20% off. One more, because they need one more win, which means they've gotten how many, Jimmy?
15.
15.
Yay! Well done, Jimmy.
There we go.
So
this has been super helpful.
We are not kidding when we say hard hats are flying off the shelves. They're flying off the shelves.
We can't make them as fast.
We can't make them. Jimmy sent me a video of them. They're legit flying off the shelves. Where's that video? Send that again. We're going to put that on the screen too.
Text it to you. We have a team of JNR Marketing, unbelievable company.
But
for us.
While here, you know, obviously there's a game here and there were some Celtics fans. There was a watch party at the Garden. What? Boston, I gotta say, Boston, good job tonight. First up, I'm not a watch party guy, but the Garden was basically filled for a watch party. About 50,000 people showed up to watch basically a live podcast featuring Tom Brady at Gillette. And this game tonight, which is crazy how many people showed out for sports. But at the Garden, Jimmy, look at what
this is unbelievable. This is what I would call surreal.
Happened here.
This is surreal. I don't know
what do you guys see here,
but I appreciate you. I appreciate you both so much.
This is at the Garden watch party, and they're just wearing those freaking things. They're just wearing them.
They look great.
Look at that.
They look awesome. They look comfortable. And by the way, they are very comfortable. I don't know if I've definitely shown this before, but when we go big screen again, I'll show it again. But that's like, these guys are front row at the watch party, which sounds like a good idea, but I wonder how that worked with the neck, trying to look up on that jumbotron. I'm not sure, but the place was packed tonight. Good vibes only.
Packed with hard hats is what it was, Jimmy.
Packed with hard hats. Somebody tweeted me and said, go on the Celtics Instagram page. There's hard hats all over the place. I thought they were joking. Sure enough, there it is. But it's been a lot of fun. And the hard hats started as obviously it started a couple years ago on this show. Just tossed it on. The whole point is that the whole thing is just go to work, show up, put on the hard hats, lace up the steel toe boots, bring your lunch pails, and just do your job, right? As a once great head coach Bill Belichick once said, do your job. Just show up, put the work in, put on the hard hat, and just get it done. And when the Celtics do that, good things happen. And tonight, I've already mentioned I'm giving out the hard hat to Tillman. I'm giving out the hard hat to Hauser. Guys who just showed up, were ready to work when they were called upon. So that's the whole thinking behind the hard hat. I would love for these to take off. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? They are selling. Like, I'm not just saying that. They've been selling like crazy. I don't think anyone else is doing it. So it's kind of a unique thing. It's fun. And these are, John, let's go big for a second, if you don't mind.
What does that mean?
I just want to show up. Just go full screen. Back
to you?
No, just all of us.
Us people.
Yeah.
We people.
So I want people to know this is a real hard hat. It's not like a joke. Okay. They're stanzas. They're nice. No.
Come on, Evan Marinovsky. Clean it up.
It does. It absolutely does. But these are legit. Got some padding on the front here, padding on the back. You can go backwards with it if you want. You can go frontwards with it. You got the shamrock here. You got the CLNS Garden Report logo. And you got the saying, hard hats, lunch pails, steel toe boots. I know Sherrod's got one coming. Shout out to Sherrod.
You know that.
I saw that. Hell yeah. It's going to look nice.
So again, go ahead up.
And by the way, guys, it's not just hard hats. We've got a bunch of T-shirts there. We have bucket hats. If the hard hat isn't your thing, grab a phenomenal bucket hat that Bobby Manning rocks. Grab a couple T-shirts. We got phenomenal tees, Garden Report logo tees. We got backpacks. We got mugs. If you like to wake up with a little Garden Report show in the morning, grab a Garden Report mug to go with that. You got a number of options there. And don't forget the code one more for 20% off. And we are now doing international shipping. So previously we weren't doing international shipping, but we've got so many messages.
People from down under.
People from all over the world want a hard hat. No lie. I've gotten people from Australia, England, Canada, all over the world, which is humbling and we appreciate it. So I do not set the international shipping prices. I have no idea what they are. We're not making money at all off shipping. It's just, that's what it costs to send like something this size. I think it's first class priority shipping. So that's my spiel.
There it is. The hard hats are out.
Hopefully we didn't lose all the viewers during that time.
No, we're good.
We tweeted the link too. The link is tweeted on CLNS Instagram. Our Instagram, CLNS.
We've got our sad producer Twitter here, Jackson, asking if you can have. Of course, Jackson, you can have a hard hat. Of course, Jackson, you can.
You can have a hard hat. Yeah,
that's
you come to work.
We'll call it your Christmas bonus.
Yeah, that's awesome. Who came up with it? He wants to know. I came up with it.
So Jimmy, how wrong were we with our Celtics in 5 prediction?
Embarrassingly wrong. Embarrassingly wrong. we didn't give him enough credit. John.
Yeah,
You know what's funny was like
everyone's wondering who Jackson is, as if I've somehow replaced or fired Ahmet. Ahmet is safe. Ahmet is fine. Ahmet's doing lots of different things. Jackson Tolliver is one of our new rising stars at CLNS Media.
yes.
Yeah, much like
And
Ahmet.
Jackson's also home, so it's not just me home. I think he's home.
Much like Ahmet, he doesn't sleep ever, and he just gets the job done. Gets the job done. So yes, Jackson gets a hard hat for his efforts, no doubt about it.
Absolutely. Yep. And stay tuned, guys, because if the Celtics do pull this off, there might be some surprise merchandise showing up in the merch store. We're ready. Let's put it this way: we're ready for it.
We're ready. Anyway, back to the game, guys. And again, before the game, I talked about a lot. I think, whether it was Twitter, the shows that we did, just kind of, back and forth, even the post game, I wasn't sure what Dallas could do differently. Like, I just think they had to just hope that the stuff that they normally do, they just did better. And it happened for a little bit, right? Because you had Kyrie starting to hit his shots and this and that. But it's not enough. I think that's kind of always been the case. It's never been enough. It's like when you talk about an adjustment series, like when you're starting to talk about, when you say ridiculous things like it's hard, they got to start playing Hardaway and Exum, if that's where you are, it's over. Like
you see Exum hit that panic button, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying if the key to your, like, if you were the Celtics right now and you're like, I think we need to start giving Jaden Springer minutes, like it's over. You're cooked. There's nothing you can do, right? So like that's kind of where they are right now, is they have to just do what they do, but just do it better and hope that the Celtics do what they do worse. I think that's the only way that it works at this point.
Well, they went like 11 deep in the first half.
They played 11 guys. They tried everybody.
I mean,
first
in
guy
an
off
NBA
the bench, Sherrod, we were right next to each other. Was who? Was Hardy?
Yeah,
Hardy.
Which again, Hardy had like a really solid end of game one when nobody was really playing defense. So you think that maybe they try to throw him in there in game two, which they didn't really do. But they played with a level of desperation that wasn't like sense of urgency desperation. It was, we don't have any solution, so we're just gonna just try to throw something out there and hope that something sticks. They were, and nothing did. They had a great start, and the first quarter, you kind of knew that this was going to be one of those nights for Dallas because they thoroughly outplayed the Celtics for most of the first quarter, and all they had to show for it was a 1-point lead. And Boston was a little bit better in the second quarter. And again, all Dallas had was a 1-point lead. So you figure if the Celtics got into any semblance of a rhythm and consistency for a 4, 5, 6 minute stretch, they're probably going to win the game. And that's exactly what they did. Held on, obviously, when it got a little bit dicey in the fourth. But Dallas, they're just not built to win this series at all. So.
John, we can sit here all night and talk about what can Dallas do. They can't do
nothing,
shit.
And that's kind of why we
that's
why we felt the way we felt coming in.
They're not going to win 4 straight games.
Porzingis never played, and the Celtics, had a couple of those lay down games. Again, the most impressive thing about the Celtics for me through all 3 of these games is, again, with the exception, we always have to throw it out, of that little prevent offense they did here in the fourth, zero let up, and that's just bad execution to me. It's not lack of effort when they slow the ball down. They're just not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They have not stopped at any point in time. They are playing their asses off the entire series. And so there wasn't one of those games where like maybe we can catch the Celtics not serious or getting bored. The 2-0 lead game, yeah, absolutely one you think you might get bored with. I actually do wonder whether Porzingis being out upped the urgency of this one. If you come in with KP fully loaded and you think like we got this in the bag, these guys can't run with us, I don't know if that let up to the point, but I do think that helps you refocus a little, which is we cannot screw around. Like we've absolutely got to bring it, and they keep doing it. I can't stop watching Drew Holiday. You talk about you want to compare players instead of comparing Brown and Tatum and who's better. Compare Holiday and Luka. Watch as the game goes on, and Holiday still and White. They're just still buzzing around. Offense and defense never stop moving. These guys cannot be worn down, and Luka's just. Whether it's just being out of shape or the pain injections are wearing off or whatever it is, like you just see it power down. Those guys just go. Yeah.
The best defensive backcourt in the NBA as voted on. We knew it. We saw it. And then it was stamped, approved, sealed, and delivered. And that hasn't changed. The offense comes and goes, but the defense is mostly effort. And that's one thing you can say about this team. They don't give up. They don't, certainly the backcourt, if we're talking about Drew and White here, as you were talking about, John, I can't think of one time this year where I said, these guys are half-assing it out there, or they don't want to play today. They didn't show up. You know what I mean? Like, you never felt that way about them.
Those guys are the reason you had fewer of those games. Of all the times this year, we said they lose that game last year. There's a million of those this year. There's about 20 of them, including probably 4 or 5 in the playoffs alone, where it's like they lose that game last year. It's because of those guys, I think, and it's, that they'll never let. There were too many. There's too many critical players on the floor who are doing critical things who would not allow that to happen. And that's what changed the equation for it. There's too many grownups. There's too many serious people, and it could never get accountability. It never got out of hand because those guys are always doing the right thing. So even if some people would lapse into their worst tendencies or just have a bad stretch, you just had these rocks there who, even when they didn't have results, were almost always trying to do the right thing. That's why I defended Drew even through like some spells where it's like people are like, I thought this guy was better, I don't know. I thought he was exactly what you were hoping he would be, and possibly even more. I can't say enough.
Drew goes into disruptor mode and completely changed the game. Like that 3-ball that he hit that put him up 2, and then he gets a steal that sets up Tatum for 3-ball. They're up 5. At that point, that was their biggest lead. And from there, things just snowballed for them. And as much as we can talk about what Jalen did and what Jason did, and Sam gave him a nice lift off the bench, that sequence right there that Drew Holiday put together back to back set all that other stuff in motion. And he's been doing that throughout the postseason. And it almost feels as though he was just kind of basically storing up, all that Drew capital, all that Drew currency for this moment. Because this is why, if you're with Grossbeck, you go millions and millions and millions over that second apron and spend way more money than a lot of NBA owners are willing to, because you went and got the pieces that you absolutely needed to get over the hump. And they're 48 minutes away from winning a Banner 18.
And that's why we're paying $10 for media meals in the finals, because we gotta pick up some of that Drew tax, and that's fine.
In Dallas, did you have to pay?
No, they gave us a card to buy concessions instead of having a media meal, which is pretty gross.
It's actually funny. Yeah.
It was really funny. It was free concessions.
I got a question for both of you guys.
Disgusting though.
Well, actually, Carlos has the question. I'm going to alter it a little bit. Is this the most dominant Celtics team ever? He asks. We need like Gelso or like Bob Ryan to probably answer that one. But what about comparing it to 07-08? Sherrod and John, you guys are both obviously big into those teams.
It's close.
If they win a championship, it becomes legitimate argument. When you look at this team, I think from top to bottom, I think you might want to give the edge to this. Think about this. Of your top 6, top 7 players, you're probably looking at 4 or 5 in Hall of Fame conversation guys right now. Drew Holiday will have a couple titles. Al Horford will have a championship. True. Tatum and Brown are still in their mid-20s, so they're only going to keep getting better. That's 4 guys right there.
Yeah.
And so Derek
White will be goated someday.
He could be like, the Michael Cooper guy, the guy that, maybe didn't have all the numbers of the superstars, but, 10, 15 years after he retired, he may very well be in that conversation as well. So
you get to go.
That 08 team, when you look past Paul, Ray, KG, and probably Rondo, I'm not sure if you got much else.
Rondo wasn't Rondo yet, and Perk was a perfect role player. Rondo wasn't fully Rondo. Rondo wasn't the guy. Rondo wasn't the guy that they fully trusted.
He wasn't
at
playoff
that
Rondo
point.
then. Yeah.
No.
Different guy.
Right.
So you see the roster and you're like, and Rondo, but Rondo wasn't close to what Rondo became in subsequent years there. I would say this team through the first 5 or 6 probably has more talent. That being said, you know, KG did everything right. You know, KG was, if your best player was Drew, if it was Drew Holiday into Tatum's skill set, you know, like he did everything right. And changed the dynamic of that team. So, but it's really close. Like this team, and they took everything serious. Everyone would be like, well, the Atlanta was a 7-game series. It was, but it was a really lopsided 7-game series. Like they won the 4 games by like an average of 23 points or something like that. And yeah, maybe they played with their foot a little and stupidly lost games on the road they shouldn't have. But they were just, you knew that team. I mean, that team was destined to win the championship with almost no doubt the whole way through. There weren't really many moments in the season where you're like, I don't know if they have it. They obviously had it relative to the league. Celtics have their doubt only because the core has failed before. Not the, you know, you've seen Tatum and Brown come up short before, and that was stuck in people's minds where that was the first time you'd ever seen these guys together. And it was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. And they really changed the NBA, that team, you know, like, you know, just with the whole, like, get with, you know, the big 3 sort of situation and load up on, you know, front load talent and have all of these stars there. But it's really close. It's really close, you know. And then 86 is 86. 86 was the most dominant thing I've ever seen in my life. They not only would they win, they toyed with people. It was like prime Pedro Martinez. Like it was like you can't
gather around, children. John's gonna tell us about 1986.
I mean, 86 was ridiculous, dude. They went 40-1 at home.
Gather around.
41. They absolutely toyed with people. It was a joke. That team was so good. So yes, I mean, of all time, no, 86 is all time, but this is close to the 2008 team.
Yeah, I
sure.
thought it was good to compare a little bit more recent teams too than it is to go back to the.
Well, I mean, those are the 3 standards of anybody, you know, around. You have the last wave of anything that anyone, you know, whatever. If you're, you know, 40s or beyond, the 80s, that 86 team was always, that's in the conversation with the Jordan Bulls and the 72 win Warrior, you know, those Warriors teams as greatest of all time. So it's impossible to not include that in a conversation.
Shout out Kenyon.
Yeah.
Getting himself an 86 jacket. There you go. Speaking
of 86. So it's hard not to, but obviously the more recent, that I think it's close. Thank you, Jason, very much. We love having you guys. We really do here in the chat. We have Luca and Kid. This is slugged. Luca and Kid crying.
Oh, I can't wait to see this.
It's about Luca's foul. It's about the foul.
Luca cries nonstop.
They called a foul. I was stuck. I had to challenge it. So I had to challenge because it was, you know, a close call. But the referee called it a foul. You got to move on, move forward.
Tim McMahon, ESPN. Luca, what did you think of the whistles that went against you in the 4th quarter?
I mean, I don't know. We couldn't play physical, so I don't know. I don't want to say nothing, but you know, 6 foul in the NBA Finals, where basically I'm like this. Come on, man. Better than that.
Boo-hoo.
The refs didn't let Luca play physical. I'll say this. It was marginal. And it's a tough call to make there. But the problem is when the guys hit the deck and then the ball goes loose, if you call nothing, you're just giving Dallas the ball. So it's a really tough thing to not whistle it if you think that there's contact there. They looked at it. They thought there was. What are you going to do? This isn't an out of bounds thing where you don't have an angle to see if it really went out of bounds or not. This is simply, when you slow things down, you really see if there's enough contact there to justify it or not. It's not. They looked at it. They thought there was. I thought it was close. I thought Brown was going to get called with the chicken wing there. I thought that hurt his cause because he stuck that out a little bit.
The problem for Luka is he can't move. He can't move. And Jalen is super athletic. I mean, it was the absolute perfect storm for him to be called for a foul. You can't move. The guy that's attacking you can move, is faster than you, is quicker than you, you're going to have a hard time standing in front of him. And Luka, again, I thought they let him play way more physical than I thought I expected to see. And you look at this game, there were 17 fouls called against Dallas and 19 against the Celtics. And I didn't think anyone was getting a major generous whistle one way or the other. I thought they were missing calls both ways. I thought they were, making a few calls they probably didn't have to make both ways. To me, it was an inconsistently consistent officiated game. I didn't think either team had a significant advantage. And if we're being honest again, Luka can't defend. This is not what you do.
Defend, Jackson. Give me that clip, Bobby. Defend, John.
He's your worst defender. He's your worst defender.
We'll get him to say that. We'll get him to say that tonight for sure. Bobby and Josue coming on later. What's up with them? They around? Marinovsky's in the building.
I had to join. Just too good of an opportunity to pass up.
You're the same guy who just asked us to explain it in hockey terms?
I am, yeah.
Oh,
I am.
good.
You're going to hear some terrible analysis from me. People don't even know who I am on this, so,
He was just walking by. John, you're muted, I think.
A small story. One day we were doing the Garden Report, and a guy named Sherrod Blakely was in our chat. And I was like, Sherrod, is that actually you? And he's like, yeah. I was like, join. And I sent him a link, and he joined, and then he never left. He's been on ever since.
Yeah. I don't know about me. I don't know. I don't think I should
Evan joined the
forever.
chat. Evan joined the chat. I said, hey, jump on the show. Evan Marinovsky is a host of the Bruins Beat podcast and someone who does Bruins coverage for CLNS, the Bruins postgame show, which did great, by the way.
Really fun.
So yeah, why don't you give us your little hockey-minded take on the Celtics here?
Yeah, your little cute hockey take.
Your little cute hockey take.
Little cute hands in. Well, my favorite thing was I was at a hockey game actually out in Foxborough.
Do they shake hands at the end?
Yeah. They should shake hands in the NBA. They should. When LeBron runs off the court, I think that's
they do enough of that. They do enough of that stuff like every single game. They don't wait till the end of the playoffs.
But I was listening to Cedric and Max, not Cedric and Max, Max and Grandy on the way home, and they are electric. I had never really listened to that. I'd never been in the car for a Celtics game. They were outstanding, but I walked in the door to a house full of people watching the Celtics. And I was like, it's over. It's done. This game is over. It was the end of the third quarter. And then the fourth quarter happened and they were like, you need to leave your own home. So that was that.
You were the guy who made that happen. Okay.
I was the reason they went on like a 20-2 run or whatever it was. They're nasty. I mean, like they're absurd. Like they're so deep. They're so fun to watch. This is like, they're almost playing like Bruins hockey, and that they're so good defensively and they're deep, but at least they win. So that's the big.
You're like the Bruins last year, except they didn't fall on their face in the first round and ruin it.
That was my worry in that first round against the Heat, that there would be a little bit of that. But no, Luke, I'm basically a kid, so I don't.
No, that's a Joe Mazzulla private joke.
Oh, well, I don't know all the jokes, but John used to say I looked like I was 11 years old, and I don't think that's changed.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm like 13, you're 11. John's like, well, we won't go there, but
yeah.
Someone said hockey is dumb and for animals. That's where we disagree.
Who said that?
Somebody mean in the chat. The chat, Evan. You need to know that the chat, they can be nice, but they can also be very hurtful. Very
hurtful.
They've said some very things to me.
They're mainly hurtful to me, but sometimes to strangers.
I'll take shrapnel. Yeah.
There's no way the Mavs win game 4, right? Like they're dead. This team is dead. Luka is as bad as I mean, this is like ridiculous. They're not.
It should be over. There always is that like just not show up and somehow the Mavs figure it out. But I don't know. This Luka team. They basically are Luka's team, but this Mavs team, this had to just be a gut punch to them. There's only one day off. I don't even think they have time to come back from it. Really, I really don't. And Kyrie, Kyrie's going to lead them back of all people? Kyrie's going to be like the heart and soul guy? Give me a break. He's still on his PR tour, I think, that he was on when he came to Boston. Showed up tonight, but this has been more of a PR world tour for Kyrie, I think, than the NBA Finals.
At the end of the day, he's got to play. You got to got to win. I don't give a damn how you spin, the relationship with the Celtics and how all is forgiven and the fans under your head. Win a damn game, dude. That's all.
This is a pretty good comment. No D and Doncic.
Exactly.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you guys, I saw Derek White at Fenway a couple weeks ago, and I was
you
so
took a picture.
I took a picture. I was so you know how you think about the best comments after you're done, like in that moment, you're like, oh, I should have said that. I was so pissed I didn't say I loved you on the Garden Report. I was so mad I didn't think of that in the moment until after. I was so pissed, but
unbelievable.
I loved him on the Garden Report. He was great.
Yeah,
he was great.
We've had a few guys pop on here. You might be the biggest celeb we've had so far, but we've had a few.
Oh, yeah. I bet. Yeah. Nobody bigger than me.
Just be careful because now guess what's going to happen? I'm going to pop on for a Bruins post game.
You're more than welcome.
Sherrod might pop on for one. Who knows? We're just happen to be on YouTube, which is often.
I've done Bruins post game. I've done them all.
He's done John is a legend with Bruins post game. My favorite is Sherrod from Fantasy, our fantasy football group. He just lets us lose every week. And my favorite thing is one of his students freelanced for New England Hockey Journal with us and was talking about going to BU. And she goes, "Oh, Professor Blakely." And I said, "You mean Sherrod?"
Professor Blakely. You got them calling you that over there?
Professor Blakely. It was Bell. Yeah, Bell
there.
does terrific work for us at the Hockey Journal. She's awesome. So
she is.
You're churning them out.
Yeah.
Shout out,
so, Evan. Before we boot you because we got to bring on Bobby and Josue, give us your take here. Is this a Brown MVP series? Is this a Tatum? Does Tatum sneak it through? Is it a dark horse candidate?
It's Brown. It's got to be Jaylen Brown. It has to be. Drew is awesome, but I think Jaylen is the pick here.
It's Brown.
Yeah. It's Brown. And who gets more? Who's? We were saying here because Tatum, if he hadn't had a good game, it could have been this strange thing where the irony of Jason Tatum being dogged for not having won it yet as the thing holding back his career, and if he ended up having a mid-final series, that his stock might have actually gone down after winning it rather than up because everyone would have said, "Oh well, they won it in spite of him," which isn't the right take, but still. You have to explain it to people why he was playing well, but the stats didn't show up, and some of the national narratives would have gone in that direction. Now, Luka Doncic, who took the Mavs beyond where anybody thought he should go, might be that guy who's going to catch a lot of heat. And this is a guy who's scoring 30 points a game here in the finals, but he's getting people are finally starting to realize that, like, oh, defense matters a little bit. So he's taking some hits here.
They were better defensively. I thought the Mavs when he fouled out.
Yeah,
like they were better.
I was like, this might actually hurt the Celtics because they couldn't score before, and now, yeah, there's going to be a better defensive lineup out there without Luka. I was actually a little worried there.
He's the traffic cone, and I also think. But again, I mean, I don't think his teammates have been great around him finishing plays and stuff.
No,
that's my hockey take.
That's my hockey.
That's my hockey.
They suck, Evan. There's nobody good around Luka except tonight. It was Kyrie. But other than that,
he sucks.
He sucks. He's the worst. But he did show up tonight. Other than that, I don't know how this Mavs team even made the playoffs based on what I'm looking at. I really don't. I'm not just saying that. Before you go, Evan, how clean is this?
It's so sick. I saw you post the video about that, and I was like, that is awesome. It's sort of like because aren't you cousins with the founder of Fanatics? Fanatics, like it's a little entrepreneurial. Yeah, so this is awesome. It's perfect.
Olivia Notini, shout out Fanatics, not Fanatics. Big difference. Fanatics.
No, big difference. We hate Fanatics. We love Fanatics.
We love Fanatics. But shout out Fanatics. Find them on Instagram. They do a lot of stuff. Great White Sharks type stuff like that. So
yeah,
free plugs on the
We're all about saving the Sharks. We're all about saving. How did you know that, dude?
Because she was in my journalism class at UMass, and she said, "Oh, like you're with CLNS, so is my cousin Jimmy Toscano." And I was like, "Boom, great guy."
Yeah,
so,
Fanatics,
but the big thing is, it's entrepreneurial. It's entrepreneurial with the Hard Hats. I love it. They look clean.
Evan,
I wish I had one.
They're doing it.
We might be able to think about a Bruins hard hat. Maybe we might be able to talk about it. We'll think.
They need to get past the second round to start getting the hard hat going.
Yeah.
I think
they got to earn the hard hat. That's the thing. But if We're open.
Guys,
to it.
thank you for having me on, and congratulations to you. You guys are awesome at this, and you guys have built something amazing. So I'm glad that you guys are seeing it through, and the Celtics are about to win the championship, and you guys deserve rings.
We might deserve it, but you know what? Don't sleep on Bruins post game. Don't sleep on the Bruins next year because they got some money to spend, and they're going to be back. And Evan, that post game sneaky got some pretty damn good viewers coming out of nowhere. So look for that again next year when the Bruins get to this point. It'd be nice to take both of these things deep into late May in early / mid June runs. Yeah. So let's do that.
Nice.
I'm a Bruins season ticket holder, Evan. A lot of people don't know that.
I did not know that.
So
that is awesome.
I'm in it.
That is awesome.
But Evan Marinofsky, you can catch him at the New England Hockey Journal, where he plies his trade, but also contributing all sorts of Bruins related content to CLNS Media, including Bruins Beat podcast, and he's popping on a host of other podcasts, Bruins related podcasts on the CLNS Media Network. He is the Bruins as far as CLNS Media Network is concerned, even if he won't come back and work for me full time, even though I beg him, but that's okay.
All right. I will. Thank you guys. I'll go back to playing MLB The Show.
We'll see y'all later. Anyway, that's Evan. Great guy. One of the great find.
We'll keep him.
He's another great find that we've had at CLNS. We've been really lucky and blessed to be able to bring in some like young talent who gets it and like grows themselves into into
butterflies,
into real boys. Yeah. Into grown-ups, and it's great.
Yeah.
Was that
Damn.
We're waiting again on Josue and Bobby, who for some reason need to listen to every last drop of sound before they jump on this show. It's an hour and 15 minutes into it. But again, we're going to move on to game 4 here. Is what's more likely to happen? Celtics boredom or Mavericks giving up?
Mavericks giving up.
Yeah.
Mavericks giving up.
What do you think, Jimmy?
What was the first option?
Celtics boredom and coasting / hey, maybe we should win it at home, which I think is risky as fuck. I don't like it. I'll tell you why. I do think every game is closer to a coin flip without Porzingis, even though I do believe the Celtics are better. So winning 4 straight is really hard to do. But if every game is not quite a 50-50 ball, but close where you got to really play, any let up on any of those puts you in a position to potentially lose. And I don't want to see them give up any of them personally. So I think they're too focused to. Tonight impressed the hell out of me just because you took that early punch, you came back. It was a 1-point game after 1, and it continued from there. And then like I said, they came out in the third quarter and they just looked so focused on. I don't see them letting up, but I don't know.
I'm picturing a similar vibe to game 3 where the Mavericks come out, they give you like a punch, and then the Celtics just overwhelm them. I don't see a fourth quarter comeback in the Mavericks in game 4. Like, I think if the Celtics go up by 20 points like they did in this one, I think that's, the end of it for the Mavericks. Yeah, exactly. Down double digits, 0-3 in a series. Like, at some point, like you just need to be brought out back and just put down. I hate to say it that way, but let's be real. And I think the Celtics, they still feel like they have something to prove. They're up 3-0, but they want everybody to know this isn't a mistake. Everybody else was wrong. They knew what they had. They were going to just murder teams. Just boom, 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 boom. What is that going to be? 11 in a row if they do that? Not 3 in a row or 4 in a row, John. They're going to end up winning like 11 straight games here. And these aren't just against joke teams. These are teams in the playoffs. Yeah, could be missing a guy here, a guy there, but the Mavs are healthy. And they're putting in work against them, and it's not close. I know the score was close tonight, but talent level, you can clearly see a team that's straight up the best team in the league. And so I think it happens Friday night, and I think the Celtics want to make a statement that, yeah, we swept their asses. You all suck. We're the best. We're going home to celebrate. And that's just what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And we can hopefully and we can hopefully just close the book on the whole Kyrie chapter.
Well, speaking of which, let's hear Kyrie. You want to close the book on the chapter? Let's hear Kyrie. Jackson, what are we about to listen to?
Do it.
Sad Kyrie, somber voice Kyrie.
Sage Kyrie. He's gonna have something to say.
Hopeful Kyrie.
We'll have a lesson.
Hopeful
for us.
Kyrie is
Oh,
boring.
God.
Never going to hear on Tillman be friggin' awesome.
Yeah, let's.
Man, I just really think about going home and just, this is a metaphor here, so just be ready. Just go home, get the ammo ready, get the bazooka, get the 50 cal ready, get everything ready, because it's, when we come into game 4, we know that we got to shoot our gun, we got to shoot our shots, and we got to do it with an aggression, and defensively, we got to continue to do the things that creates that separation for us. When we're playing against them, they shoot a lot of tough threes. They really rely on their three-point shot to create that separation for themselves offensively, to play with a comfortability. But, we just got to stay positive. And, for me personally, again, I'm just going home, just, dusting off the tools and just getting ready for a, tough game 4.
And
Dusting off the tools? What are you building, a doghouse?
He just stole KG's quote and tried to make it like his own.
Well, what I'll say is I think I've had enough of watching and listening to Kyrie act like he wants you to think everything is normal and cool.
It's anything but that.
It's not. Even watching
have you ever sensed any urgency from him this entire finals? Anything at all after these losses? It's just
because he's not in the finals, Jimmy. He's in the rehabilitation of Kyrie Irving documentary that he's starring in right now, which seems to supersede basketball at this point. But he was classic Kyrie in the sense that he does have an insane amount of talent, and he's a difficult shot maker, and he made him tonight. Just watching him go through his motions of all of the stuff, and it just whatever. It is what it is.
No, he was good. He was really good tonight. But you're really good and you still lost. So the whole concept that, well, if Kyrie plays a little bit better, then they've got a shot at winning. Yeah, they got a shot at winning.
Well, they did. It happened tonight.
They shot their. He talks about come back for game 4. They got to shoot their shot. That happened already. That ship has sailed, and it ain't coming back around the harbor. It's a wrap.
Everything happened that Dallas needed to happen for them to win and make a series of it, and they didn't in either case. And that included a Celtics abysmal shooting night in game 2, abysmal, and that's the one you're supposed to win. Then you got your 65 point, whatever it was, game from Kyrie and Luka, and Porzingis didn't play, and you didn't win that one either. So you're out at there's no trump cards left in the deck at this point.
No,
there's not.
But
hey, Ahmed, I lost my X-Man, guys. I need it back. I lost it. I had X-Man. I had a bite from him.
That's okay. We'll get him back. X-Man deserves his shine on the show tonight. Absolutely. And I'm almost going to do apology cam. Almost. I'm not going to, but I was pretty critical of Tillman at one point. I think it was back in the last series. I even forget where it was now, but he just didn't look. He didn't look like he was in playing shape, really. But,
yeah, is it bad to say I'm proud of him? Like,
no, you can be proud of people. You can be proud of people.
I really, because again, it's a really tough spot, and it showed in the first stint a little bit, right? Because he's rusty. And Jimmy, you texted us in our group chat. That's why you play. That's why Joe probably over the last 30 games should have given more consistent run to these guys with starters. Just to get them into it. I might have just done a game where Al sits and Tillman plays all his minutes, 26 minutes, Al minutes, and just do that. Because what if you have to do that? And that's how you get used to them in those types of rotations. What if you need to do that? And they didn't enough of guys who you thought could potentially be useful, like a Brissett, like a Tillman, where you want to dust them off and you can use them in certain matchups at times. I think you should have found more opportunities to, but to his credit, he friggin' did it, man. And this guy's been awesome to watch and follow during the finals. Just his attitude, the way he deals with it. He's not sitting there thinking like, hey, man, I've played in the playoffs before. I should be here. That's not how he is at all about it. He really is like, when you talk about Stay Ready crew, he's like the spiritual leader of the Stay Ready. Like, he's so clearly
I'm ready whenever called upon, and when you put me in, I'm going to be ready to go, and I'm going to do my job. And, he just does it, and he's been great. So here he is talking about his performance tonight.
What are the emotions that you felt in that moment when you saw that shot go in, the bench go crazy, and what are you feeling
Little
right
Noah
now?
action.
Look how happy he is.
I knew that when I saw Maxi Kleber go to the block that I was going to shoot regardless of anything.
Oh, it's about his three.
And then, their bench was talking, so it was kind of cool to be able to hit it and look at the bench as well. But to hear, the bench going crazy on our end, guys like Svi and O'Shea and stuff like that, it was pretty awesome because those are my guys. Those are my SRG guys. Each day in and day out, we go to war with each other to try to better each other, to be ready for whoever's name gets called. So for them to celebrate me and be hyped for me is pretty cool.
They were fired
He gets
up.
it.
They were fired up.
He just gets it.
Bench
He
went
gets
bananas.
it. I mean,
that was such a moment. We were like,
Tatum was on the bench
elbowing each
too.
other
He
up
was
here, yeah.
fired up for it. Yeah, I mean, that's how you know that the team, that's like good vibes. Obviously it's good vibes, right? In that situation, but they're a close team. It's if you get that feeling, I mean, you guys are around it more than I am, but that's the feeling I get from watching, anyways. That these guys are all fans of each other and support each other. And when one of the guys gets the call from the bench, whether it's Tillman or Luke or Hauser, they're fired up when those guys go in and they're effective. Like they're all very happy for each other.
Yeah.
Tillman's also gone through some personal things recently where I'm sure, this is a huge moment for him and an otherwise pretty tough time.
The thing you said earlier, Jimmy, you do get that feeling is like there's no ego beyond like you've got a good. I mean, it's pretty well established. You've got the six, and then you had the rest of the rotation that was pretty set, and they knew what they were getting with with Hauser and Pritchard, and then even Cornette getting his minutes. Cornette's the same dude, whether he plays 0 minutes or 20 minutes, just happy. He's still a goofball on the bench there, having a good time. Right. Nobody here has enough ego sitting there thinking I need my minutes. And honestly, like that's an underrated thing about a top caliber team. Everyone's always looking to bring in a guy to like bolster them. And you start to get greedy around like trade deadlines and stuff. And you start to suggest like, why don't we get, who was the center they wanted from Toronto? That Bobby wanted really bad.
Oh.
Forgetting here.
I know who you're talking about. But
anyway, you can't bring in guys who are used to playing 35 minutes somewhere and tell them you're going to play 10 or 12 here. Pirtle.
What's it, Pirtle?
Yeah.
Pirtle.
Jakob.
San Antonio. Yeah. You can't bring in guys who are used to starting and playing 25, 30, 35 minutes and say you're going to play 10 or 12 because that's all I need you to do here. They're going to be like, especially guys in contract, it's like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do something else. Like, so you need your 7, 8, 9 guys to be 7, 8, 9 guys, and just be happy with 10, 12, 15 minutes. And they are. That's who they are. I mean, sure, anybody wants to answer the bell, and if they get more time, they get more time. But nobody there is bitching about it. And so you get the sense that every single person knows, appreciates, understands their role, is ready if their number is called, but also isn't going to freak out if it's not. So good on them. Somebody who is going to answer the bell every single time his number is called, Jaylen freaking Brown. Here he is talking about stuff. Let me see. You might even know what it is. Oh, and this is good. Answering, well, as they like to do, as they've done a lot, they're answering haters.
Hi, haters.
Between maybe in past years, you guys got
he got the badass shades on tonight.
Again, as
all friends of CLNS.
Okay, let's get this. Let's make plays. Let's be the heroes here.
I think experience is the best teacher. All year long, we've been hearing about the Celtics of the past. For the last 6 to 8 months, that's all we've been hearing is like all the different shortcomings we've had in the past. This is a new team. You know what I mean? We learned from those experiences, and in these moments, you can see that we didn't run from it. We stepped up to the plate and we found a way to win.
Damn straight. What is that around his neck?
New team indeed.
It doesn't matter, Jimmy. It's cool because Jaylen is wearing it. It's cool.
Is cool. He
I don't know what it is.
Sure.
We're told the watch party was full of hard hats here. And speaking of
Mark
which,
and Melanie bought a hard hat. I know that. So thank you.
Speaking of which, here's what the factory actually looks like.
You guys thought this was a game? This ain't no game.
We want to get these out today, so.
Yeah, Joe.
You're damn right you do, Joe. Dude, that's a little peek in the lab right there, guys. There's the decals. These aren't just little cheap things. You thought this was a game. Oh my god.
No, it's
Y'all
not a
messed
game.
up. Y'all messed up.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they're invading the TD
But
Garden.
you know what's
Hard
great?
Hat.
The best thing about it is there's nothing more fun. So again, the knock on
Did they put that hat on Gelso?
the knock on the Celtics will be like, oh, there's no Tatum's not the classic star or the blah blah blah. You know what? Teams are fun. Teams are more fun than single players. Watching a team play like a team is great.
Go follow Harden.
Go have fun. Yeah, exactly. Go be a Mavs fan and watch Luka shoot 35 times a game and not play defense. Like Luka's fun. Luka's an amazing offensive talent. Don't get me wrong. He's I don't think anyone can do what he does. It sucks. It's boring. Like watching a team play team ball when they play it correctly and trying is great. And like this finals has been great for that reason. It really has. You know,
it's been awesome, and it's been refreshing because let's be honest, this NBA
it's so much better.
Superstar league, right? It always ends up being, the superstars control where they go, who they play with. They end up, making it's all about the superstar. So it's nice. It's nice to get. And Sherrod, you were reporting for the ultimate team that won, right? The Pistons back in the early 2000s. 04 was it? And so it's few and far between when you get this. Now, again, it's a little bit different, not completely apples to apples, but it is that team mentality. And yeah, Tatum and Brown are superstars. Brown's the highest paid player in the NBA, and Tatum's a three-time NBA first team. So let's not act like they don't have stars or superstars, but the way in which they play, when they are at their best, it's when they're moving the ball around. When they're making the extra passes, when they're playing defense, it's when they're making those extra passes, the potential assists. It's not when Brown goes off for 50 or Tatum goes off for 50 and everyone else is watching and standing around. They're also a super team. So that helps too. We should make note of that. Yeah, they're playing like a team, John, but how could you not? They've got the, 6 of the best.
But it's just what you're used to, right?
Yeah,
it's what people are used to because you go back in time and you look at it, and every single person has had kind of that uber alpha star when they win it, whether it's Curry or LeBron. Like there's always one of those obvious upper echelon top 3, top 4 players on all these teams going back to, a long way where you just don't have very many teams that aren't built that way. And so people are just used to that thing. Hold on, guys. I'll bring you on in a second. They're used to that
thing
being what you need to win a championship, and not exactly the case here. All right, let's bring on these guys here, Bobby and
boy,
these guys. All right, guys, we got 2 minutes and 48 seconds left of the show. Why don't you take it away?
Well, it's about time John got us on here. Bobby, you want to start?
Yeah.
And John.
And that's it. They're gone.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah,
hey guys,
you're not making me wait 1 hour and 25 minutes and complain about the 2 minutes it took to get you on. We're gonna start and try this again, guys. Okay, here we go. Try it again. Now try it again. Go.
He's cute. Go ahead, Bobby.
We heard a lot.
Sorry, I made you guys wait. We've just been talking for an hour and 20.
We heard a lot after this game about the difference between this team and the past teams, which was something they didn't want to discuss for much of this year. I feel like tonight that finally came out in a big way because it's indisputable. Yeah. This team in the past would have lost this game. They would have completely unraveled. And like I said off the top, it would have went in the other direction. They probably would have lost this game in a blowout, double digits the other way. And we can point to many different games in the past where that did happen as recently as last year. So it was the definitive win of this championship run, Josue.
Yeah.
They just held on every
question.
time, every run.
Definitely, Bobby. And I think Jaylen Brown, man, we've been saying this all playoffs, but to see what he did in the second half, just completely just being in control, saying, look, okay, I'm going to start giving the Dallas Mavericks some problems here. And he just did it in a way that I felt like it's just so indicative of the development that he's done throughout this entire year. Obviously, we talk about his defense. He has to guard Luka all the time. He did a tremendous job in doing that. But the way he put it, when I asked him about it after the game, was he thought in the first half he was kind of letting the Dallas Mavericks slide a bit. He was sort of taking the first opportunity he got instead of being more patient, and that was what opened everything up in that third quarter. What was it? 16 points in that third quarter, including that assist, plus that assist, I should say, to Tillman for 3. This place got awfully quiet, man, when the Celtics were on that run in the third quarter.
The
and
Tillman
of course,
stuff's crazy.
the Celtics' bench was going off, and sure, they made things a little interesting, like they often do, in that fourth quarter. But when it came down to it came down to defense. And I thought the whole, like, let's all take turns on challenging Luka to defend because we know he's not going to do it. I thought that was great. And I think that's going to be a huge storyline when this one is done. When we talk about Luka being a top 5 player, but when it comes down to it, you have to play defense, especially on this level, especially after he was already put on blast. And after what we saw in game 2 from a national perspective. And now in game 3,
it speaks for itself.
We didn't see any improvement in that regard, man. Like, Luka, you gotta defend. Like, that's just what we do here. For him to foul out the way he did is so poetic to me.
Foul number 4 looked like he was trying to get out of the game. The reach in on Derek White before the last.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, John. That's that classic. Oh, I missed a shot, whatever, or it's not going my way, and I'm so mad. The game has to stop right now. So yeah, that was a frustration foul, a stupid foul that he could have easily kept. But the last one, the fact that he turned to the bench and was like, "You guys better effing challenge that." It's like, come on, Luka. Your coaches didn't commit that 6th foul. You did. You got 5 minutes, 6 minutes left to go. You can't do that. You cannot foul out of an NBA final game. And of course, it was his first time he's ever done that in the postseason.
Such a bad foul too. There's no chance on replay of that.
Yeah, exactly. They tried so hard. They took all the time they looked at every single angle. And the officials look at each other like, "Yeah, we got to foul him out. Sorry, Luka."
He's your worst defender. Come on. That's what happened.
Yeah, right.
Guys, isn't it fair?
Sherrod with the Boston accent. I love it. Yeah, exactly.
I know the Celtics are tired of hearing it, guys, but isn't it fair to draw the comparisons? And again, yes, Holiday and Porzingis are new, but again, this really is about Tatum and Brown, and it always has been. I don't think it's wrong to look back at it because ultimately, if those are your stars and those are your leaders, that's what you're always going to look to with these guys. And I think, like, the comparisons help them because you're trying to you can't resent the comparisons, but also say you've learned a lot from the past, right? If you've learned, that means, well, yeah, that stuff did happen.
Things were wrong in the past. Yeah.
Until you see new stuff happen, like now, that's your story, not this. Yes, it is a different team, but until you write a new story, that's who you are. You're close but no cigar. Like, okay, great. You're a bridesmaid, and now they'll be looked at completely differently if they lock this up completely differently. It changes the entire arc of their careers.
Because they've driven this run too. Tonight, there's no Porzingis. There's been no Porzingis for most of this run, and Horford is a rock. Drew Holiday is a guy who can step up to the plate and make plays on both ends of the floor, but they're the ones initiating all this stuff. I just love that third quarter. I went back and watched it in the pressers. There were 3 assists between Brown and Tatum directly. You saw them looking for each other. There were multi-pass sequences where there wasn't an assist between them, but a couple guys in between them were setting each other up. There were a lot of missed open shots, so even more opportunities where they could have assisted each other. I've never seen them pass to each other like that. And the offensive execution throughout that quarter was great as they went ahead by 21. So you certainly see the good side of Tatum and Brown as a duo in that third, and then you see the downside, some of the offensive stagnancy that they have in their DNA. It's the difficult part. Every team has a weakness. Every player has a weakness, and theirs is always going to be that offensive stagnancy creeping in here or there. I don't think that's ever going to go away from this team, but they manage it better. And the big thing is they defend. The team's defensive consistency is just that's the floor of having those 2 guys be your star, and that's the weakness of having Kyrie and Luka be your star.
Right. Let me ask you this question, though, guys, because why do we do this to ourselves, and why do Celtics fans continue to do this? You see Porzingis go out, and you start to fret over, like, Tillman, are you going to be able to do that, or how are they going to survive there? And, you're going to have to see more Hauser, and everybody gets nervous. But again, the Mavericks are starting Derek Jones and Gafford. And bringing Kleber off the bench. And the first guy off the bench was Jaden Hardy, who played 4 minutes only.
And Green came in.
And then they tried Exum in the first half, and he got left alone for a dunk. And other than that, did nothing. And he played 3 minutes. Green, 22 minutes and 3 points. Like, what are you worried? Hardaway, I didn't even know. I thought you could have told me. You could have told me Hardaway was a DNP tonight, and you might as well have been. I don't remember a single
Washington
thing.
scratched the surface, and that's their third option.
So again, it's like, we still get into this tendency of like worrying about like, well, geez, you're gonna have to play more. Look what these other guys have to bring out there on the floor. Look what they have to bring on the floor.
Yeah. Well, they put together their best quarter in the entire finals, right? Which was the way they started things off. But then they only had a 2-point lead to show for it. I mean, I think the Celtics did what I expected them to do in the sense of bouncing back from a rough shooting performance, but they did it right away. And I felt like that was sort of exhausting for the Mavericks, where they were just trying to keep up, and all of a sudden it's like we built this huge lead, and by the end of the quarter it's pretty much gone. And I think that just that uphill battle, while the Celtics were sort of clicking and started to find their momentum going into that second half, that's when everything just opened up for the Celtics. But yeah, I mean, the Celtics did what they were supposed to in terms of finishing that quarter on a very strong note, punching right back when the Dallas Mavericks really got this place rocking. It was easily the loudest they got in here throughout that first quarter run. And of course, Kyrie Irving finally found his offense, but it didn't even matter. And I think that when you looked at how deep Jason Kidd went into his bench, he had to, he wanted to support that terrific first quarter with guys that could maybe hit a few threes here and there. Like, that's all he was generally looking for. Green did hit one, but you couldn't get anything from Cleveland. You couldn't get anything from Tim Hardaway Jr. And then the Celtics just continued to roll on when they found their momentum.
I'm just going to keep saying again and again, too. 3 games into the series, you never had – well, you trapped a little bit in game 2. But mostly you've switched everything.
It wasn't that much, Bobby. Like I said,
one-on-one.
How many times they were trying to get Horford or Tillman
and drop?
Yeah.
They weren't trapping.
It didn't work.
Right, and that's as aggressive as you got scheme-wise there. You were basically switching and playing one-on-one the whole series.
Yeah.
I think the Celtics took 18 corner threes in this one, and Dallas took 5. So it took the corner 3 away from Dallas. You get efforts like Hauser, Tillman, Pritchard against Luka and Kai. No one would have imagined that coming into this series. And again, that's the belief they have in Joe and some of the scheming he's done on both sides of the ball. Obviously, Jalen set the tone this year for defense. And I had tried to ask him a little bit about that. And he talked a little bit about himself and his individual efforts. And he certainly had them in this game. That sequence where he was on Luka and just aggravating him, I think in the third quarter there, was pretty impressive. But the team as a whole, top to bottom, everybody being able to defend Luka and Kyrie one-on-one. Horford's out there on the perimeter at 38, still switching out there. Like it's Tillman. And, that trade, I've been critical of it, but tonight alone makes it worth it.
Well, this is kind of what you got him for, is a moment like this. Let me ask you guys around the horn real quick. What's the take? What's the media take tomorrow that's going to drive you most nuts, Jimmy?
Blaming Go ahead, Jimmy.
Go ahead, Sherrod. He's got it. He's got it loaded.
You're Sherrod.
No, blaming the Dallas loss on Luka picking up foul number 6.
That's mine,
which is such bullshit. But go on.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I'm at this point now. Hi, haters. Nothing's gonna bother me. Literally, I'm not gonna be. I'm not. You're not gonna find me. You're not gonna find me in the message boards or in the YouTube comment section. Hi, haters. That's it. All summer long. All summer long, I'm going to be waving hi to all the haters, because guess what? Haters always hate. They're always going to find something. They'll move the goalpost and hate on something else. But you really can't hate on this team. If they win the championship, which they're 1 game away, I'm going to be saying hi to the haters all summer long. You won't find me spending any energy arguing with any of those people. Any of them.
Yeah, but if people...
Hi, haters. Haters are going to hate, Josue. Haters are going to hate.
There's no way. If people say that tomorrow morning, there's no way they can say it with a straight face and insisting that as if like the referees like robbed them, because that's not the case. Okay, lazy defense turns into fouls. Especially when Celtics were in transition and they were gunning for him.
They didn't give him a break.
No, it was part of the gameplay. It was clear as day. If Luka's on you, go at him. He's going to be a turnstile, and maybe you get a foul while you're.
I was pretty amazed by it. And you earn that, right? We've talked about with the Celtics in the past, when Tatum's complaining, he's not going to get any breaks. When the whole team, Grant, Smart in the past, obviously too, just constantly yelling at the refs, you're not going to get any breaks. And Luke has been doing that all series here. Seriously. It was a tough whistle tonight for him, and especially on offense.
He'll be all right.
He got called for 2 fouls on the floor early, where I was like, whoa, like they are officiating this one pretty tough here against him in particular. But again, no fault of theirs that Dallas ends up losing this one, the officiating. And I'll go a step further on the take thing because I've just become pretty bored of the Tatum criticism too. And it is boring, right? Because we're sitting here and saying he's doing all this other stuff. He's not shooting great. We just say the same thing every night, but it's true. And I think he set such a tone in the series with his passing, with the way he handled the crowds. They were so free tonight offensively. Everything looked tough in Boston. Tonight, the ball just sprayed around, and they were making good decisions, and so much of it stems from him. And I love Brown. I love everything he's done in this series. But if all stays equal, and I had a vote, I'd be voting Tatum Finals MVP for this series.
Oh, my
the passing,
God. Hang with him.
Tone he set for this series that flowed
third.
into a great night for him scoring the ball in this one too. And I thought he was on Luka a lot on switches. He took that challenge the last 2 games. It's no knock on Brown, who's been incredible too.
Yeah, that's my pick.
61 tonight, but 61 combined.
Yeah,
but
it's Brown.
Tatum's the tone
Tatum
setter.
get it over Brown?
It's Brown.
Because he's the initiator offensively. And he's the one handling the crowds.
Brown's doing the actual thing.
Right, but it stems from the pressure Tatum absorbs at the point of attack.
Yeah,
Tatum was able to
he's doing everything
because he's getting more attention, so you're going to give him MVP?
Because if you took him off the floor, Jimmy, coming into tonight, Tatum was like plus 166 for the playoffs, and the team without him on the floor is plus 0.
I understand that he's been important to the team, but when you're talking about
if you took him off the floor, they would have lost the series.
What if you took Brown off the floor?
What if you took
They'd
Brown?
probably find a way to win.
What?
They win tonight's game without Brown.
I don't think they win
This
tonight
series.
without Brown. Brown.
Okay, well, Brown's been the best player in 2 out of 3 games.
All right, you guys gonna keep going back and forth.
Again, the pressure's all on Tatum.
Bobby's gonna lose a lot of people.
2-3 guys.
Okay. I like it. I like that you're sticking with it.
It's a good problem to have, I guess.
I think he's gonna win it.
But I give the edge to Jalen, but we still got one more game. So
we'll see what happens in the last game. It's neck and neck.
Yeah, no, it's definitely neck and neck.
This is why Jalen Brown will go off in game 4, because the haters and the detractors,
still doing it,
of which there are many.
It's not hating. I had him East Finals MVP.
Well, how big of you? What about now?
I have Tatum MVP.
This is what fuels. We were talking about earlier. Brown's figured out a way to keep himself going. He finds negativity and he turns it into. That's what gets him going. Is like the slights against him. I'm not saying care specifically about what you're saying, but generally speaking, it feels like he definitely gets the shaft in a lot of situations. It's okay to say what your eyes are probably telling you is that Brown's been the best player in the court through 3 games. It's okay to feel that way.
It's okay.
So you guys are all Brown?
Yeah.
I'm Brown.
Brown or Holiday?
You guys too?
Not to say Tatum hasn't been good. He's done things well, but there are also things scoring-wise that he hasn't done well, and that doesn't make him anywhere close to a automatic shoe-in or automatic pick for MVP. Whereas Brown, I think Brown has scored in more opportune scenarios in more important situations, and tonight was a perfect example of that in that second half.
Well, we just Joe Mazzulla'd my original question by answering a different question, but the thing that I think is going to be the most annoying narrative tomorrow is what Sherrod said.
Luka?
A bunch of media who
why
thought
did the NBA foul out Luka?
It's going to be a bunch of media who thought that Dallas was the better team now need to figure out why this is happening, and rather than give the Celtics proper credit, which they do deserve at this point, and honestly, everyone should just. We were wrong. We were wrong. There
will not be an apology cam.
We need a national apology cam, and what you're going to get is like Luka. Maybe he's more hurt than we think he is because something's not right.
Luka collapsed.
Well, you don't get the injury
because it's Kyrie's fault that they're not winning these 2, and now it's going to be Luka because now everyone's picking up on the defense and the stuff like that and getting tired. Late
it's interesting too,
and it's going to be annoying because it's like. No, the Celtics are breaking them. They broke them. They did this to everybody and it worked. And it doesn't work here because they're too good. They broke them. And it happens. Like that's what good teams do. They break. Golden State broke the Celtics 2 years ago by just being
Look at what they did to the
Definitely
Pacers
mentally,
too.
yeah.
So
I thought the Pacers played a better series against Boston than Dallas has so far, and they broke them and came back from 3 games. I mean, again, we said it. You could have been down 3-1 in that series very easily. You don't look at this series at all so far. I know Game 2 got a little wonky, and tonight you were down early, but you're not sitting here saying, "Oh, Dallas could easily be up in this series." You came away from 4-game sweep against Indy, having to do some heroic stuff late in those games to turn those around and win and sweep. So you probably met your biggest challenge in the East Finals so far. I just have been very unimpressed with Dallas here. Not to say that Boston hasn't broken them and done all that stuff, but it's a bad matchup for the Mavs. There certainly were some teams in the West that probably would have given Boston a harder time. But as we've said, you play who you play, and to have a 10-game win streak going in the playoffs, again, I emphasized that earlier, Josue, that doesn't happen. And they might make it 11 here.
Crazy,
on
right,
Friday.
Bobby?
That's regular
It's
season
insane,
stuff.
man.
That doesn't happen in the playoffs.
I don't know this, but I'm sure it's easy to find. What's the longest winning streak in the playoffs? I'm sure the Celtics are got to be pretty close to it.
You probably have to. I mean, without knowing specifically, that Golden State team from 2016-17, they went 16-1.
Okay.
In the playoffs.
They
So
won.
that's
They won 15 straight that year.
Oh, okay. Forgot about that one.
Did they lose game 1? Or
Historically
game
good
2
team
and
as well.
I think they went 1-1 in their first series and won the next 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
incredible,
They
man.
won the first, lost game. It has to be. That's the only way you can win 15 in a row.
But has anyone ever like seen a team like this where that's not being discussed? It's not about the run, it's about the winning streak. It's about Tatum, or it's about is Jaylen Brown the better guy, or whatever the national TV wants to go with. But it's rarely about how great this team is and about the stats and the historic run this has been. But maybe that'll be something they bring up tomorrow morning alongside Luka fouling out for sure. But that'll take the cake.
Celtics could so easily be undefeated in these playoffs, which is the crazy thing.
And no one would care, man. Like they haven't lost since the second round.
They finally
no one's even talking about it.
Will the media and the heat kind of be off them a little bit, and is it going to be on Dallas tomorrow? Like what happened to Dallas? Did they fall on their face?
Sort of, but it's not. Again, I think it's less Dallas failures as it is that the Celtics are just doing it to them.
Definitely. It's definitely that. I mean, their defense has been suffocating.
They don't let
anybody.
guys off the hook.
They don't.
That's
We talked
been
about it
their thing
earlier,
all year.
Bobby. With the backcourt of Drew and White, those guys are nonstop. And if you're any of these Mavericks players down 3-0, looking at Holiday and White just ready to pounce on you again, like that's got to be pretty deflating.
Yeah. The one other thing I want to bring up here, and I'm sure you guys touched on it a little bit, long term, you do start to think now, and I love them to death, but man, what they've done without Kristaps here. And Jalen even said it in the press conference, and it came off sounding a little weird, but he said they weren't surprised he went down again. Like they've done it the whole postseason without him, so he goes down again. And not that they don't miss a beat here. I thought it took a little bit of an adjustment early in this game, but they spent a large portion of the season without Kristaps, and they won almost all the games.
I mean,
So
they
as
won
you do start
without
to
everybody. They were undefeated without Jaylen Brown.
But he was out the most.
It doesn't say. I know, but their record was so good. They had a good record without everybody. They really did.
Right.
They
But
did.
he's been out the most. He's been out the entire playoffs, and they've won pretty much.
But you're
every
expecting
game.
it. He played the expected amount of games this year. It's just a bummer that he got hurt.
You wanted
Right, and remember the whole point of bringing him in was so that he could help you win a championship, and he did his
Played
job.
6 games in the playoffs.
And I wanted
Right,
more.
but he played.
But honestly, Bobby, you might not be a 2-0
I
without
had him
him.
at
Right.
55 games during the season, just so you could preserve him for this
The
run.
game 1 performance was big. Absolutely.
Bobby, were you
might
gonna
not be a
say,
2-0 without him.
Shop him?
I don't know. It's just going to be interesting because we've had that conversation about how this group's going to chart into the future. I know they're going to talk Derek White this summer, and that's going to be a substantial total if it is the full maximum that you can possibly give to him. And they signed him to a good extension, $30 million a year here, but it's been tough. And Drew talked about it a little bit tonight. Jalen certainly showed it in some of his comments there. It's been difficult to watch the way the health has deteriorated as the year's gone on. And that's certainly been the case with him pretty much every year of his career outside a few here or there. So You'll definitely run this full group back next year, but in 2
Exactly.
years, you start to make decisions and
Bobby, let's
where
win
you
one
are
more.
at that point.
Let's win
Right.
one more, Bobby, and then we'll have this one.
2
We'll
years.
have
I'm
this
thinking about 2 days.
It's just
I'm thinking about
tough.
Friday night.
I mean, isn't this a difficult position for him to be in right now? Because you came here, you want to be part of this run. You're right, John. He had that massive contribution in game
It's a
one.
difficult
But man,
position.
he hasn't played on this run.
It's a difficult position for all of us to be in because I don't think anyone wants to have this conversation right now. The Celtics are one win away from a championship.
Yo,
I think we
imagine
got
if Bobby's.
You're talking about bringing up the band.
Chris teammate, yo. He's like,
damn.
Sorry, Chris.
Can we just get another
Like,
hit?
yo,
Can we
man.
just get another hit record out before we bring up the band?
Yeah, come on. Let's
Again, it's just
let's accept the Grammy, right?
Bobby, you can enjoy this first before you worry about 2 years.
for sure. It's man, he came back for 2 games.
It's
tough.
And they won both of those games, which means he
Little
did
bit
his
unlucky.
job.
A little bit kind of typical. I
mean,
guess.
did you really think he would just play the entire series though, like injury free, like? Because that's a lot to ask for someone that again has to go back into playing into playoff style NBA finals. Everyone's been playing for the last
breaking up together.
2 months, and I don't know. Well, look, Sherrod, my point is like I was going into this finals thinking you're gonna get the best of Kristaps at the front end, and it's gonna kind of teeter off. That I think is gonna happen like this. No, but it doesn't really surprise me. I mean, that stuff is tricky when it comes to foot injuries and ankles and stuff like that, and he's probably going to need surgery after this, but it's
Right.
tough. But the way this team bounced back without him and continues to play well without him, it's.
I'm only bringing it up because
okay.
Jalen
Like, it's
said
one of those
it.
things where it's just unfortunate, but you kind of again going into the season, I was thinking a 3-year window with Kristaps. Like it's just historically speaking, he's had these injuries since he was 19. And those bigs, especially 7'3", historically they don't have a long career in the NBA. I mean,
who do you guys
let's
think
be
the
honest.
Celtics might target with the number 30 pick?
Shut up, John. Shut up.
Off-season mode.
Ronnie James. That's who. Ronnie
Listen,
James.
if Mavs fans are watching, they're so mad. Like, look at these
ungrateful.
Because at 55, Bobby, I think there's a lot of good options there. 30, I'm not sure, but 55, you might get a
Again,
steal.
Jalen said tonight it
don't
wasn't
think
a
Bobby
surprise.
believes you, man.
He went down, and
well, I want to
they
hear it
played
because
without him so much.
I
want to hear the
think,
context.
Again, I think exactly. I think sometimes
They were
players say
prepared
something,
for it, right?
Comes out a little bit wrong, and that's just the way it is. Like same thing with Holiday a couple days ago. Like he said something, and like
do we think he's done? Or you think they try to sneak him out there?
You mean this series?
Yeah.
I think he's
I'm still talking about what's going on in this series. Yes, I'm going to talk about that.
done. I didn't know.
No. Like you think they try it again up 3-0 at this point? You would think if he's
doesn't feel
close
like
to
Probably
playing,
not.
I would feel like you could probably at this point get away with not doing game 4, and then if you felt the need, you might sneak him in for 8-10 hero minutes in game 5 just to be able to be out there and smile and maybe
that would
get
be
the
great.
crowd in.
I think that's more likely, to be
you wanna
honest,
go out there
Sean.
and-
The fact that he didn't even go through his pregame routine, I think speaks volumes as to where he's at. Like I don't even think he was close for game 3, and game 4 is only a couple days away. So I mean, up 3-0, you probably don't see him out there. Maybe in game 5, but
I don't
again,
think
it all depends on how he bounces.
I don't think you see him the whole series. I never thought so. But again, thankfully you got game 3 here. Guys, are we going back to Boston to wrap it up there, or is it going to happen here? Final predictions, Sherrod. Here? Ova?
I think it's here.
OVA? You guys, Ova?
I'm with you guys. I think it's over Friday night. Get ready. We're gonna be partying all weekend.
Friday
kids.
night, we crashed your party. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's cooked, man. Kyrie and them, they don't want to go back to Boston.
Fully cooked.
I think the Celtics really took the wins out their sails.
Luka fouls out in the first quarter next game.
This is amazing. What a team.
Luka might drop 40, but
guys,
Never
one
a doubt.
more, one win away. Go get your
One
merch.
more.
Go get your merch. We will see you guys back here on Friday. We'll do something tomorrow
One
on the off day. What's up, Josue?
one more. No, I'm saying one more.
Oh,
I got nothing to say. I'm saying one more
thought.
win, guys. One more
All
win.
right. Guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for joining us here. It's been almost 2 hours. We are one win away from Banner 18. Celtics win this one 106-99 after being down 13 points. Early in this game, they roar back, take a 21-point lead, hang on, and
beat the Mavericks to take a 3-0 series lead. We are out. We will see you guys later. If you want more basketball talk, I know the First to the Floor guys are ready, and they're going to bring it over on their channel. So keep it going all night long if you want. We'll be back tomorrow. Take care.
Wait, Amit's got an outro for us, I think.
No, he doesn't.
He said he was going to work on an outro.
He had a phenomenal game.
Phenomenal.
Forfeit's out. I think it's an option. That did not sound like a chair.
It was a freaking chair. It does sound like a chair.